We just see Farah's name, but good morning, Farah.
I miss you.
How you doing this morning, Daryl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And good morning, Nene. Nene is with us, the lovely and talented Nene Ha is with us
Good
this morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. You had a good week?
I just want to say I miss you more, Nini.
Oh, thank you.
That was Farah?
Yes.
See, Nene gets a hello. We don't get a hello. But good morning, everyone. Again, I don't normally do this at the beginning, but for anyone who might be joining us either right now as we speak or later on, hey, there's Gilbert. This is coming to you from the Tampa Bay area of Florida, multiple communities coming together. We started this early in the early days of the pandemic, and we just kept going. So we've got Zoom, we've got a Zoom, stream going, and we also have Facebook Live for anyone who may have stumbled on it. If you wanted to be in the Zoom stream, you would have to go to clearwaterbaha'is.org, and clearwaterbaha'is.org, and click on the devotional tab, right?
10 a.m. devotional.
Okay, 10 a.m. devotional tab. Okay, and again, we've been doing this for about a year. We're working with Baha'u'llah's teachings on spiritual reality. We haven't always been doing that. We started that a few months ago, and it just turned out to feel right.
Yep.
And so we've stuck with that. And let's go ahead and start with, well, we just lost a friend this week. And whereas we don't normally start with these kinds of prayers, maybe in honor of our good friend who's moved on to the next realm, Karima Shahid, I think it would be good to just say this prayer. Oh my God, O thou forgiver of sins, bestower of gifts, dispeller of afflictions, verily I beseech thee to forgive the sins of such as have abandoned the physical garment and have ascended to the spiritual world. O my Lord, purify them from trespasses, dispel their sorrows, and change their darkness into light. Cause them to enter the garden of happiness. Cleanse them with the most pure water, and grant them to behold thy splendors on the loftiest mount. And this is a prayer from Abdul-Baha. Now I see you have your prayer book there, Daryl. Did you want to say a prayer?
I'll say one later.
Okay. So, well, we haven't had our, I guess that was our good morning, our good morning song, The Vision. I had planned that for later, but it still works for what for our theme for today. If anyone has been following us for the last few months, or maybe came in somewhere in there, you know again that we're working with the book, Baha'u'llah's teachings on spiritual reality. And the thing is, at that time that we started using it, it seemed appropriate to start further back in the book because there were some topics that at that time seemed timely and relevant, even though you could almost turn to any page in this book and it would be relevant. But we happened to start at the back of the book. And then we came forward. And for the last couple of weeks, we covered some of the history of the life of Baha'u'llah. And so today, what we're going to do is we are going to start with what is actually part one of this book, what is intended to be part one, which is the quest for spirituality. And so we're going to do the little lead-in to this section that is talking about the quest for spirituality. And then we're going to read chapter 1. So
Where can
Daryl,
you get the book?
say that again.
Where can you get the book?
Oh, wow. Wish you hadn't asked that
You
question,
can,
because I can't remember. But go ahead.
you can order it from the Baha'i National site, or if you happen to be in Clearwater, near the Clearwater Bahá'í Center, you can get it at the Clearwater Bahá'í Center.
Yeah, well, the center's not open
Nobody-
right now because of COVID. When they're
okay.
normally open, once things have reopened, you'll be able to get it. They have a very, very well-stocked bookstore there that is manned by our multi-talented Kambiz Rahani. But again, the center isn't open right now. What you can do,
Baha'i
however,
Publishing Trust.
yeah, okay, yeah. You can also go to Palabra Publications, Palabra, or you can even download the book for free on I believe it's the Baha'i.org website.
Right.
But you can actually download the book for free if you're interested. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Daryl, if you'd please start with part 1, The Quest for Spirituality.
Sooner or later, during the struggle for existence in the physical world, an individual comes to realize that human life consists of more than the sensory experiences of the animal, which is constrained by its material requirements. Human beings can step beyond the bounds of nature and master it. They are endowed with capacities that establish learning, culture, and civilization, capacities that incline them toward perception of a transcendent, a spiritual realm. It is in perfecting these spiritual qualities and manifesting them in action that the purpose of human life is achieved. The search for spiritual understanding has led humanity to seek the knowledge of God. While God, Baha'u'llah explains, is an unknowable essence which lies beyond the capacity of human understanding. The traces of God are revealed throughout creation and are most particularly reflected in the qualities of the human spirit. The knowledge of God has been revealed through a succession of spiritual luminaries, the founders of the world's great religions. The teachings of these individuals are the basis of human progress. But people have often strayed from the path of true religion to follow the course of their own illusions. Then God is merely an object of the imagination, and religion an instrument of superstition and prejudice.
Okay, Daryl, you got to go back and read those 2 sentences again.
The teachings of these individuals, meaning the founders of the world's great religions, the teachings of these individuals are the basis of human progress, but people have often strayed from the path of true religion to follow the course of their own illusions. Then God is merely an object of the imagination, and religion an instrument of superstition and prejudice. When ignorant of their true spiritual reality, human beings are inclined toward indulgence of their physical needs. Man then falls lower than an animal as the powers and capacities of the mind and spirit become grounded in selfish desires. Baha'u'llah has explained that the journey of the soul from the beginning of its existence on earth is a process of growing in the understanding of the human spirit and the manifestation in action of its qualities. This journey involves hardship and struggle, and the desire to satisfy material needs often deflects a person from his true purpose. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
This journey involves hardship and struggle, and the desire to satisfy material needs often deflects a person from his true purpose. But perfecting the qualities of the spirit is the means for realizing the potentialities of one's true self, for achieving happiness and prosperity in this world, and for preparing the soul for its continuation in the next. At the moment of death, the soul departs from the body as a bird from a broken cage and wings its way on an immortal journey through the worlds of joy and unending progress.
That is so good. That's so beautiful. At the moment of death, the soul departs from the body as a bird from a broken cage. I love that. That's one reason I chose that song, The Vision, because of that image, that metaphor that Baha'u'llah gives us about being like a bird, and that we were meant to fly ourselves down, sullied in the dust and unable to fly because we allowed ourselves to be in that condition. So now we're going to move on and read again part one. This really is not very long this morning. I think we have time maybe for a song or two.
Sure.
You know, something that also needs to be pointed out is, you know, just like other faiths, the Baha'i faith has holidays, or what we usually think of as holy days. And we are in the middle of one of the most important celebratory periods of the year for Baha'is. It's called Rizwan. And we talked about Rizwan last week. We talked about Baha'u'llah revealing to his followers at that time what many of them had already suspected anyway, that he was the manifestation of God for this day. And so this song is based on images that were shared, not literally, but descriptions of what happened during that time. Rizwan was the name that Baha'u'llah gave to a garden that was part of the land that his son Abdul Baha had procured or rented, I believe, for him. And this was before they went into a long time period of struggle and exile. Yes. Right. And there were a lot of roses there. And they said that there were times that the roses, people would pick these roses and they would be piled so high and so forth. And we see Farhad and Gila are with us, or yes, Gila are with us. Good morning. So this is a song that's appropriate pretty much any time of year, but it happens to mention Rizwan. So. If I was a child at Baha'u'llah's feet, there in the garden of Rizwan, I would pick one rose that smelled oh so sweet and give it to my Lord. One rose so bright, one rose so bright, my life I'll give for him, just like one perfect rose. Just to attain his presence is a thought so sweet. I'll live each day for him. I'll make his word a gift to every soul I meet, just like one perfect rose. One rose so bright, one rose so bright, my life I'll give for him, just like one perfect rose. The roses in the garden were so fresh and fair. It was a special blessing to have just been there, a place of love to which none other could compare. The Son of Truth announced the love for all to share. La 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 la. Do 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 do. So if I was a child at Baha'u'llah's feet, there in the garden of Rizwan, I would pick one rose that smelled oh so sweet and give it to my Lord. One rose so bright, one rose so bright, my life I'll give for him, just like one perfect rose, just like one perfect rose, just like one perfect. La 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 see we have some other folks that have joined us. Good morning, Sue. How are you? Okay, to continue, what it means to be spiritual, you know, I'm sure that you and also you, Nini, and those of you that are with us, have probably, maybe you even say yourself, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Well, what does that mean? Well, we can find out what it means to be spiritual. You want to continue, Darren?
No, why don't you go ahead?
I want you to, okay. What it means to be spiritual. Wert thou, this is coming from Baha'u'llah, wert thou to attain to but a dewdrop of the crystal waters of divine knowledge, thou wouldst readily realize that true life is not the life of the flesh, but the life of the spirit. For the life of the flesh is common to both men and animals, whereas the life of the spirit is possessed only by the pure in heart, who have quaffed from the ocean of faith and partaken the fruit of certitude. This life knoweth no death, and this existence is crowned by immortality. All over the world, one hears beautiful sayings extolled and noble precepts admired. All men say they love what is good and hate everything that is evil. Sincerity is to be admired, whilst lying is despicable. Faith is a virtue, and treachery is a disgrace to humanity. It is a blessed thing to gladden the hearts of men, and wrong to be the cause of pain. To be kind and merciful is right, while to hate is sinful. Justice is a noble quality, and injustice is iniquity. That it is one's duty to be pitiful and harm no one, and to avoid jealousy and malice at all costs. Wisdom is the glory of man, not ignorance. Light, not darkness. There are many more examples like unto these. But all these sayings are but words, and we see very few of them carried into the world of action. On the contrary, we perceive that men are carried away by passion and selfishness, each man thinking only of what will benefit himself, even if it means the ruin of his brother. They are all anxious to make their fortune and care little or nothing for the welfare of others. They are concerned about their own peace and comfort, while the condition of their fellows troubles them not at all. Unhappily, this is the road most men tread. The need is very great everywhere in the world for a true spiritual awareness to pervade and motivate people's lives. No amount of administrative procedure or adherence to rules can take the place of this soul characteristic. You know, I'm going to read that again because I look at soul characteristic, and that sounds like this only characteristic. But for anyone who doesn't have a copy of this book, soul characteristic is SOUL hyphen characteristic. So it says, I'm going to read that whole passage again. The need is very great everywhere in the world for a true spiritual awareness to pervade and motivate people's lives. Wow. No amount of administrative procedure or adherence to rules can take the place to this soul characteristic, this spirituality, which is the essence of man. And this next passage is coming from Baha'u'llah. My eternity is my creation. I have created it for thee. Make it the garment of thy temple. My unity is my handiwork. I have wrought it for thee. Clothe thyself therewith, that thou mayest be to all eternity the revelation of my everlasting being. Wow. You want to continue, Daryl? You think you want to do it?
Sure, let's continue.
How are we doing on time? Because
It's only 17 minutes off the
oh,
time.
we're good. Okay.
Okay. When the fruit of the tree appears and becomes ripe, then we know that the tree is perfect. If the tree bore no fruit, it would be merely a useless growth serving no purpose. When a soul has in it the life of the Spirit, then does it bring forth good fruit and become a divine tree. Some men's lives are solely occupied with the things of this world. Their minds are so circumscribed by the exterior manners and traditional interests that they are blind to any other realm of existence, to the spiritual significance of all things. They think and dream of earthly fame, of material progress, sensuous delights, and comfortable surroundings bound their horizon. Their highest ambitions center in the successes of worldly conditions and circumstances. They curb not their lower propensities. They eat, drink, and sleep. Like the animal, they have no thought beyond their own physical well-being. It is true that these necessities must be dispatched, but the cares of the lower things of life should not be allowed to monopolize all the thoughts and aspirations of a human being. The heart's ambitions should ascend to a more glorious goal. Mental activity should rise to higher levels. Men should hold in their souls the vision of celestial perfection, and there prepare a dwelling place for the inexhaustible bounty of the divine Spirit. Let your ambition be the achievement on earth of a heavenly civilization. Let your ambition be the achievement on earth of a heavenly civilization.
Yes.
I ask for you the supreme blessing that you may be so filled with the vitality of the heavenly Spirit that you may be the cause of life to the world. I'm going to say that again. I ask for you the supreme blessing that you may be so filled with the vitality of the heavenly Spirit that you may be the cause of life to the world.
Well, I got to ask you a question, Daryl. This seems to be saying, and this is just my interpretation, that we need to, even if we consider ourselves spiritual, we need to be concerned about more than just going to this place or realm called heaven. Apparently, we're supposed to be concerned about more than just that, you know, because I got to tell you, growing up, I don't remember hearing a lot about, you know, I certainly heard a lot about good behavior and being a decent person and so forth. But the emphasis was on getting into heaven.
Right.
And here, Abdul-Baha seems to be pointing out something that we also need to be concerned with. Let your ambition be the achievement on earth of a heavenly civilization. That ain't heaven. That's here.
That's here.
Mhm.
I ask for you the supreme blessing that you may be so filled with the vitality of the heavenly Spirit that you may be the cause of life to the world.
And see, that's a concept that isn't just Baha'i.
Yes.
It goes across all religions. The Christians say, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done
Mhm,
on earth as it is in heaven
mhm.
in the Lord's Prayer. And this is saying basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Yes.
So our concern, as you say, is not just for getting into heaven. Our concern is for creating a heavenly existence on earth.
And I think a lot of people misunderstand or heaven to me is not a surrounding. It's not a place.
Yeah,
It's like what it said earlier, the soul,
turning to God,
you
turning
know,
toward God.
it's in us.
That's right.
You know, the heaven is our relationship with God, not what the building, what the good food. You know, it's not the object that you could see, or it's our spiritual mind and body, heart.
Yep.
That's why heaven on earth is possible. We don't have to wait until we die and go to heaven.
A little snark in there, what? And we're supposed to be trying to be like a hollow reed, where the Spirit of God can work through us.
And that's why Jesus said, you know, we don't have to work for our salvation. It's not about the work.
Yes. Oh God, make me a hollow reed from which the pith of self have been blown, so that I may be a clean channel through which thy love to others may know. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. I've given up impatience. I've given up discontent. I will not trade back my love. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Oh God, I am wholly thine. You are my teacher, my physician, and my guide. In your army, I'm a soldier. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. You train me and change me, give me strength, faith, and understanding. You make sure my burden is no more than I can bear. I know that you're holding a place for me in your army of light, and I'll thankfully serve you. Oh God, make me a hollow reed from which the pit of self have been known, so that I may be a clean channel through which thy love to others may know. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Oh God, make me a hollow reed. Make me a hollow reed. There's a whole story behind that, but I won't take time to tell it right now. Now, these next passages all come from Baha'u'llah from now until we finish our readings for today. And I think it's important that we point that out. I'll just leave it at that. But Baha'u'llah goes on to say, what we just finished reading actually came from Abdul Baha. But Baha'u'llah says, and this he's speaking to humanity, thou art even as a finely tempered sword, concealed in the darkness of its own sheath, and its value hidden from the artificer's knowledge. Wherefore, come forth from the sheath of self, come forth from the sheath of self and desire, that thy worth may be made resplendent and manifest unto all the world. That's one of the most beautiful verses. And then Baha'u'llah goes on to give us some more pointed guidance as to, when it comes to being spiritual, well, what should you be doing? Want to continue with that, Darryl?
Sure. Be generous in prosperity and thankful in adversity. Be worthy of the trust of thy neighbor, and look upon him with a bright and friendly face. Be a treasure to the poor, an admonisher to the rich, an answer of the cry of the needy, a preserver of the sanctity of thy pledge. Be fair in thy judgment, and guarded in thy speech. Be unjust to no man, and show all meekness to all men. Be as a lamp unto them that walk in darkness, a joy to the sorrowful, a sea for the thirsty, a haven for the distressed, an upholder and defender of the victim of oppression. Let integrity and uprightness distinguish all thine acts. Be a home for the stranger, a balm for the suffering, a tower of strength for the fugitive. Be eyes to the blind, and a guiding light unto the feet of the erring. Be an ornament to the countenance of truth, a crown on the brow of fidelity, a pillar of the temple of righteousness, a breath of life to the body of mankind, an ensign of the host of justice, a luminary above the horizon of virtue, a dew to the soil of the human heart, an ark on the ocean of knowledge, a sun in the heaven of bounty, a gem on the diadem of wisdom, a shining light in the firmament of thy generation, a fruit upon the tree of humility.
Wow.
Be swift in the path of holiness and enter the heaven of communion with me. Cleanse thy heart with the burnish of the Spirit and hasten to the court of the Most High.
Oh, there's something interesting in that last sentence. Huh. Burnish of the Spirit. Isn't burnish like ashes?
Burnish is like a polish.
Oh, it's a polish.
Yes.
Okay, with the
Burnish.
cleanse thy heart with the polish of the Spirit.
Yes.
Burnish of the Spirit. Okay. So you need to clean your spirit up, get it polished,
That's right.
and hasten to the court of the Most High. I'm glad you, because a lot of times when I'm reading the writings, I'll look up words. That one got away from me, and so I was certainly misinterpreting that. But cleanse thy heart with the burnish of the Spirit and hasten to the court of the Most High. And then we are told by Baha'u'llah what we are to do with all of this guidance, not just what we've read. You want to finish with that?
Sure. Write all that we have revealed unto thee with the ink of light upon the tablet of thy spirit. Write all that we have revealed unto thee with the ink of light upon the tablet of thy spirit. Should this not be in thy power, then make thine ink of the essence of thy heart. If this thou canst not do, then write with that crimson ink that hath been shed in my path. Sweeter indeed is this to me than all else, that its light may endure forever.
And there's something we need to point out for anyone who might be unfamiliar with, the writings of Baha'u'llah. When he says me, you need to understand what we are told the manifestations of God. They are, representatives of God. They're as close as we can get to knowing God and knowing the attributes of God. And the manifestation of God, there are times when they are speaking just of themselves as, another human being. But then there are those other times that they are the voice of God. And so this is one of those times when Baha'u'llah is writing these things. This is what God is saying. Write all that we have revealed unto thee. We is even in capitals. Write all that we have revealed unto thee with the ink of light upon the tablet of thy spirit. And then he goes on to say those other things. And then ending with, sweeter indeed is this to me than all else, that its light may endure forever. So back to that original question, what does it mean to be spiritual? I mean, the title is what it means to be spiritual. Now we have some idea, and you know what?
Well, I this one paragraph just always blows me away. So when you talk about what it means to be spiritual, the one that starts, be generous in prosperity and thankful in adversity. This is the one thing that does need to be imprinted on all our hearts.
Yes.
Because it talks about all of the things that not only do we need to be, but that we can be.
Yes.
And it's doable.
It's all doable.
It's doable, but if I may add.
No, but the thing is, okay, like a lot of people say, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. Read that.
Yeah, read
And
this.
do that. You will have a lot to do and it's doable.
That's very
That's right.
true. And I'm not being devil's advocate. God forbid that at this time I would be devil's advocate. But I mean, this life does have struggles in it. There are difficulties.
Yes.
And we can look at them and look at our own issues, our own difficulties, with this attitude of poor me. Or we can look at those difficulties as, a way of building our own spiritual strengths.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and becoming this example.
To me,
Of
that is the
spirituality.
church.
Say that again.
That is the inner church and heaven on earth.
Oh, within ourselves. And that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Not just in one place that you go to called church.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes again to that whole thing about spirituality, we've got guidance on that. And of course, we all the manifestations bring guidance about it. But somehow, a lot of times, like we mentioned earlier, the emphasis got switched over to how we personally can benefit from it instead of how we can benefit others and how we can be a benefit to the earth and
Right.
contribute to this building of this creation of this kingdom of heaven
Heaven
on earth.
Right.
Yes, because that's included. It's not just, let's think about whatever that reward might be that we hope to have, but it's about what are we doing here? Okay, how are we doing on time?
10:39.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Kambiz, are you ready for us, sir?
Yes, at this time, if anyone would like to share a prayer or a song, and we always like to start out with our Kambiz moment. So Kambiz, whenever
Sure.
you
No
like,
problem.
please.
Can you hear me? والله ای متوجه الله دیده به ملکوت غیب جبروت باز کن و به این مناجات آغاز نیاز کن. که این مهربان تو سعت کن و بپوش خطا از ما عطا از تو جفا از ما وفا از تو گناه از ما پناه از تو بیماری از ما شفا از تو بپوش و بیامرز وفا کن پناه ده شفا بخش
Thank you, Kambiz.
Good work.
إنه لهو المقتدر المختار يا مالك الأسماء وفاطر السماء خلص أحباء من سجن أعداء إنك سلطان الغزاء والمشرق من أفق البداء يا أصل البقاء لأمر البقاء لا تقطع الرجاء فانصر هؤلاء أنت حاكم على ما تشاء وفي قبضتك ملكوت الإنشاء وتشيز الأنياب للحم الأحباب أن أحفظ الأصحاب يا مالك الرقاب وحاكم في الماء.
Thank you, Sheila.
I'd like to say a healing prayer for my daughter who is in the hospital in Ohio suffering with COVID. She is not doing very well. So I'm not just going to say this prayer for me. I'd like to solicit prayers from all of you for her health and well-being, if we can do that. Glory be to thee, O Lord, my God. I beg of thee by thy name through which he who is thy beauty hath been established upon the throne of thy cause, and by thy name through which thou changest all things, and gatherest together all things, and callest into account all things, and rewardest all things, and preservest all things, and sustainest all things. I beg of thee to guard this handmaiden who hath fled for refuge to thee, and hath sought the shelter of him in whom thou thyself art manifest, and hath put her whole trust and confidence in thee. She is sick, O my God, and hath entered beneath the shadow of the tree of thy healing, afflicted, and hath fled to the city of thy protection, diseased, and hath sought the fountainhead of thy favors, sorely vexed, and hath hasted to attain the wellspring of thy tranquility, burdened with sin, and has set her face toward the court of thy forgiveness. Attire her by thy sovereignty and thy loving kindness, O my God and my beloved, with the raiment of thy balm and thy healing, and make her quaff of the cup of thy mercy and thy favors. Protect her moreover from every affliction and ailment, from all pain and sickness, and from whatsoever may be abhorrent unto thee. Thou in truth art immensely exalted above all else except thyself. Thou art verily the healer, the all-sufficing, the preserver, the ever-forgiving, the most merciful.
يا إلهي اسمك شفاوي وذكرك دوائي وقربك رجائي وحبك مونسي ورحمتك طبيبي ومعيني في الدنيا والآخرة وإنك أنت الموتي العليم الحكيم.